Epic trade wars from opium to steel. Hey everyone, I'm Cade. Trade wars sound epic, right? But they're more than dramatic headlines. They're about tariffs, sanctions, and political maneuvering with real-world consequences. Over centuries, trade wars have reshaped economies, sparked conflicts, and toppled empires. Today we'll explore key trade wars from the Opium Wars to U.S.-China tensions, uncovering their causes and impacts. Let's dive in. Our journey begins in 19th century China, a land rich in tea, silk, and porcelain, goods Britain craved. These treasures were not just commodities, they symbolized China's cultural and economic prowess, admired and envied by the world. But China wasn't interested in British goods, creating a trade imbalance. Britain's solution? Opium. This narcotic derived from poppies would soon become the centerpiece of a dark and destructive trade strategy. Cultivated in India under British control, opium became Britain's trade weapon. It reversed the deficit, flooding China with the drug, but at a devastating cost to its people and society. Addiction spread like wildfire, crippling families and communities. The Qing dynasty, alarmed by the growing crisis, banned opium and took bold steps, including destroying British shipments. Britain retaliated militarily, sparking the First Opium War in 1839. This conflict was not just about trade but about asserting dominance and control. Superior British forces won decisively, forcing China to sign the Treaty of Nanking in 1842. This treaty ceded Hong Kong to Britain and opened several ports to foreign trade, marking a humiliating defeat for China. A second war followed, escalating tensions and further weakening China. The Qing dynasty struggled to resist, and Western powers solidified their dominance over the region. The Opium Wars showcased the brutal lengths nations would go to protect economic interests, with devastating consequences for those caught in the crossfire. They marked a turning point in China's history, paving the way for foreign influence and the erosion of its sovereignty. A sobering reminder of the human cost of economic ambition, the Opium Wars left scars that would shape China's future for generations to come. Fast forward to 1890s America, where industrialization clashed with free trade debates. The nation was rapidly transforming, with factories springing up and cities expanding. Yet this progress came with growing pains as economic policies became a battleground for competing interests. Enter the McKinley Tariff, a bold move imposing a 50% tax on imports to protect U.S. industries. It was designed to shield American manufacturers from foreign competition, a strategy that sparked both praise and controversy. Initially, it boosted domestic manufacturing, creating jobs and fostering growth in key industries. However, the downside soon became apparent as higher prices on goods strained household budgets, leaving many consumers frustrated. Other nations retaliated with tariffs of their own, targeting American exports. This hit farmers particularly hard, as they relied heavily on selling their crops overseas. The agricultural sector, already vulnerable, faced mounting challenges. The tariff, coupled with a banking crisis, led to a severe depression by 1893. Factories closed, unemployment soared, and breadlines became a common sight, painting a grim picture of economic hardship. Repealed in 1894, the McKinley Tariff became a cautionary tale of protectionism's unintended consequences. It underscored the complexities of economic policy and the risks of prioritizing short-term gains over long-term stability. While shielding industries may seem appealing, the ripple effects can be devastating. Workers and farmers alike bore the brunt of these policies, highlighting the interconnectedness of economic sectors. The McKinley Tariff highlighted the delicate balance between protecting jobs and fostering global trade. It showed how policies aimed at strengthening one sector could inadvertently weaken another. It's a lesson in how economic policies can backfire, impacting both domestic and international markets. The interconnected nature of trade means that no policy exists in isolation. A reminder that trade policies must consider long-term impacts, not just short-term gains. The story of the McKinley Tariff serves as a powerful example of the need for thoughtful, balanced economic strategies. The Great Depression of the 1930s brought economic despair, and the U.S. sought solutions. Enter the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act, imposing steep tariffs on 20,000 imports to protect American jobs. Instead, it triggered global retaliation, collapsing international trade by 66%. American exports plummeted, worsening the depression. The act became a textbook example of protectionism gone wrong. It deepened economic woes and strained international relations. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff serves as a stark warning against isolationist trade policies. In times of crisis, cooperation, not protectionism, is key to recovery. A hard-learned lesson in the interconnectedness of global economies. Let's lighten up with the absurdly named Chicken War of the 1960s. Europe, protecting its poultry farmers, imposed tariffs on cheap American chicken. The U.S. retaliated with tariffs on trucks, brandy, and even glue. Volkswagen's U.S. sales plummeted and tensions escalated. After years of standoff, a truce was reached in 1964. Europe lowered poultry tariffs and the U.S. removed most retaliatory measures. However, the truck tariff remains, a quirky legacy of this trade spat. The chicken war shows how even minor disputes can have lasting impacts. It's a reminder of the complexities and quirks of international trade. And yes, glue was once a weapon in a trade war. In the 1980s, pasta sparked a trade war between the U.S. and the European Economic Community. The EEC's subsidies gave European pasta an edge, angering American producers. The U.S. imposed tariffs on European pasta. Europe retaliated with tariffs on American goods like lemons. For 9 months, pasta prices soared and tensions ran high. A deal in 1986 reduced subsidies and lifted tariffs, ending the pasta war. This quirky dispute highlights how even everyday items can fuel trade tensions. It's a reminder of the delicate balance in global trade relations. Who knew pasta could be so political? The 1980s U.S. Japan Trade War was about more than tariffs. It was a clash of economic titans. Japan's booming economy flooded the U.S. with cars and electronics, creating a trade deficit. Accusations of unfair practices and currency manipulation fueled tensions. The U.S. pressured Japan to limit exports and adjust its currency. Agreements were reached, but the trade war highlighted global economic anxieties. It showcased the challenges of balancing free trade with protecting domestic industries. The U.S.-Japan trade war was a defining moment in global trade history. It underscored the complexities of technological competition and economic power shifts, a reminder that trade disputes often reflect deeper geopolitical dynamics, and that economic rivalries can reshape global markets. The beef hormone dispute spanned over 2 decades, pitting the U.S. and Canada against the EU in a battle that tested the limits of international trade relations. The EU banned hormone-treated beef, citing health concerns and consumer safety. But North America argued it was a thinly veiled act of protectionism to shield European farmers. The World Trade Organization ruled in favor of North America, stating the ban lacked sufficient scientific evidence. However, the EU stood firm, refusing to lift the restrictions. In response, retaliatory tariffs were imposed on iconic European goods like cheese and mustard, further escalating tensions and impacting industries on both sides. A breakthrough came in 2009 when a deal was struck to increase quotas for hormone-free beef imports, finally bringing an end to the prolonged dispute. This trade war underscored the complex interplay between science, politics, and economics, as nations grappled with balancing public health concerns and trade obligations. It also highlighted how consumer protection laws can sometimes clash with the rules of international trade, creating a delicate balancing act for policymakers. The beef hormone dispute remains a fascinating case study in the complexities of global trade, showcasing the challenges of navigating competing interests. It serves as a reminder that trade wars often involve more than just economics. They touch on culture, values, and national identity. And that even something as seemingly simple as beef can ignite a global controversy with far-reaching consequences. The banana war of the 1990s was anything but sweet. The EU favored bananas from former colonies, disadvantaging Latin American producers. The U.S., defending its multinationals, challenged the policy at the WTO. The WTO ruled against the EU, but changes were slow. The banana war highlighted the clash between free trade and historical ties. It showed the challenges of balancing economic interests with development goals. A decade-long dispute over a simple fruit revealed trade's complexities. The banana war is a reminder of the interconnectedness of global markets, and how even bananas can become a symbol of trade tensions. In 2002, U.S. steel tariffs sparked a transatlantic trade war. President Bush imposed tariffs to protect the struggling steel industry. The EU, seeing this as protectionism, challenged the move at the WTO. The WTO ruled against the U.S., and international pressure mounted. By 2003, the tariffs were lifted, ending the dispute. This skirmish highlighted the tension between domestic policies and global trade rules. It showed how quickly trade disputes can escalate. The steel tariff war was a short but impactful chapter in trade history, a reminder of the delicate balance in international economic relations, and the importance of adhering to global trade agreements. The U.S.-China Trade War, starting in 2018, is a defining 21st century conflict. The U.S. imposed tariffs on Chinese goods, citing trade deficits and unfair practices. China retaliated, targeting key U.S. exports like soybeans and automobiles. This trade war is about more than tariffs. It's about global power and technology. It disrupted supply chains, increased costs, and fueled economic uncertainty. The IMF warned of its impact on global growth. The U.S.-China trade war reflects deeper geopolitical and economic tensions. It's a reminder of the complexities of modern trade disputes and the far-reaching consequences of economic rivalries, a conflict still shaping the global economy today. From opium to steel, pasta to bananas, trade wars have shaped history. They reveal the complexities of global trade and its impact on economies and societies. Trade wars often have unintended consequences, hurting businesses and consumers. Understanding their history helps us navigate today's global economy. By learning from past mistakes, we can strive for fair, cooperative trade policies. Trade wars are a reminder of the interconnectedness of nations. Let's aim for dialogue and collaboration in resolving trade disputes. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights.